And we are moving now on to our colleagues from Wisehockey. We've got Miska Kusisto and Santeri Karjalainen. Okay, Miska is the head of sales and marketing, and Santeri is a design engineer into machine learning and computer vision. So please welcome them to the stage. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm Miska and I'm starting. It's really nice to be here because we are literally in our home like a ground because our office is just 300 meters away. So we are from Tampere origin company and we are today having short presentation about the capabilities of the automated real-time data. And we are not here to tell how to use it, but we are just showing the capabilities that what we have been doing in Finland a few years. So a little bit about the background. So our system is used very widely already in different countries. So in 10 countries, we are playing something like 2,000 professional games per year. So it is very wide in use. And then we can produce basically real-time data that it is not available in other systems. One key thing is that we are producing quite a reliable data, so there is no human error, and then it can be used, for example, in official stats. So we started that, for example, in Finland in this year or with Liiga. So, for example, ice times and face-offs and that kind of items were coming directly from our system. And then real-time API is very important. You cannot do everything by yourself, so we are sharing the data through the real-time API. When I mean the real-time, so it is roughly ballpark of 5 to 10 seconds. You have all the data available for your own services. And as said, without manual work, so whatever we are doing, so it's fully automated and done by the kind of automated. What's then very unique thing? So it is not just the tracking, but we are tracking puck and the player, but out of that we are able to turn those coordinates into real-time stats, and that's kind of unique that I can say that nobody else is able to do at the moment. So typically there is some kind of computer vision cases or something that you try to recognize some events from the moving picture video, but we are actually using just coordinate data for that. Then a little bit about the background, how fast, for example, our kind of growth has been. So we started roughly 5 years ago here in Tampere in old arena, and already in following season we were playing in 5 arenas in Finland, and then after 2 years we already had a full league, and then for example KHL was playing our system, so we had already 50 arenas where our system was installed. So then we have been also introducing like a Norwegian league, and now in upcoming season there will be DEL, and of course here in this event there has been smart pucks in use, so it's not official, but you can of course connect the dots that what is the smart puck that they are playing in this event also. Very shortly about how we are using data and our partners like Liiga and the teams are using. So in bottom we have this object tracking, so we are able to track players and puck, but it is just starting point. Then as said, we can do the game modeling, and out of that we can do the statistics, and then serve in right side like a betting media, performance and leagues and so on. Because if we would do this just for the, let's say, performance, so it would be very difficult to maintain like a 2 million development per year and 30 guys development team. So we really need these extra revenue streams in order to do this kind of development here in Finland. Then here is just some practical examples that what is used in media. So today this is not in focus, but basically this enables us to do this sports side. Then about the coaching with the real-time data. So as said, without manual work, so there is no need to tag. Of course, there is always some manual work. There is still humans, coaches need to coach, but basically we can provide, for example, shot maps or blue line crossings or direct offenses or that kind of things automatically from our system. Then also that is available during the game. So of course all is not used during the game, but coaches can decide what they want to use during the match. Then this real-time API, so it doesn't mean that you could not use the other solutions. So from the API, teams can fetch the information and use their own tools as they wish. And then this reliable stats creates the solid background for the machine learning cases and that kind of deeper, let's say, analysis, which Santeri will, go a little bit more details in a couple of minutes. Then this automation also means that you can use this similar system, let's say lower level or youth like trainings because it is automated. You don't need anybody at the arena for this system. So basically it enables like 10 years old kids can play with the system, not just that we would be tracking with them, but you can also analyze that what kind of the trainings are and what kind of like let's say frequencies there are or if you get the certain things happening there or not. Here is some screenshots about the service that is available for all the teams. I'm not going through all the things because you can come to our booth, I can show that in live, but it is just illustrating that there is many of those familiar things that I think many of you are anyway using, like player shifts or player profiling. You can have a shot maps with the previous events and so on. So these are available from the system automatically. Then about the other things, so of course you can do the scouting things. Training is possible. So in Wisehockey we have been using that also. You can have multiple like cameras, heart rate monitoring with Polar, so we can sync also that information to other events and then also do custom analytics. So when you want to do something else, so from the API you can play around with the data and define like a meaningful things for your purposes. Then shortly, just like expected goal modeling is very hot topic generally. So this is just not that I'm reading through all the things, but basically just illustrating that how many items you can automatically map. So when there is a shot, so we are calculating 80 different kind of measures, and out of those we are kind of calculating that what is the likelihood of the scoring from that place. So if you would do this manually, so it would eat quite a lot, time from the team. Then, let's say it's not like a future, so it is something that what we have been doing with machine learning, but Santeri will go even deeper level. So
Thank you.
Speech for you.
So machine learning, what a fun subject to end the long day. Like I was introduced earlier, my name is Santeri and I've worked with Wisehockey since the very beginning, 2017. And I'm sort of a jack of all trades, master of some. I do your average backend development, and as mentioned, I also do computer vision and machine learning and other a bit more advanced topics in this project. So today I'm going to illustrate some of the possibilities that machine learning offers us and what we have already done with the data that we collect. So I think a quick introduction into machine learning is in order, because I don't think there are many machine learning engineers in the audience. So machine learning is effectively they're just very complex calculators. It's effectively curve fitting. So probably some of my peers, some other AI people would roll their eyes at me or facepalm when I say this, but I think it's a great way to summarize the field for a layperson, let's say. So traditionally we input numbers into calculators, and out we get the end result that we want. And here in this comic, this top quality comic from XKCD, we can see that in the machine learning case, we just pour data into a big pile of linear algebra and then collect the answers on the other side. And if the answers are wrong, then we just stir the pile until they start looking right. And machine learning in general can be applied to all kinds of systems when we want to model some complex systems or want to do exploratory data analysis in many different domains. And also in the context of ice hockey and sports, it can be used to many different, used in many different applications. And the caveat here usually is that it requires a large amount of data as an input. And large here is an understatement. I could use the word huge, but you know, it's all just a matter of a sense of scale. A large amount of data is required. And another caveat is that usually these machine learning solutions are a so-called black box. So we don't always know how they work. They give us the correct answers, or they seem to give us the correct answers, and we know how the training process is done, for example, but we can't, as humans, look inside the box and really understand what the machine has learned and how it has processed the input data to make the deductions that it's actually doing. And why do we need machine learning? Why are we at Wisehockey doing, why am I here? Why am I working with machine learning at Wisehockey? So traditionally, different events in a match are annotated manually, and as Miska explained, we also do the same kind of annotation automatically using the tracking data. And the stuff that is usually annotated contains statistics such as shots on goal, different attributes to those shots, times on ice, maybe even passing, depends on the army of people that you have at the venue annotating the events. And in reality, this is just a handful of data. And when I say handful, it's again a sense of scale compared to what we have to do, what we have to use with machine learning. This is just a handful. And even still, the people who work with ice hockey can use this handful of data to provide meaningful statistics. So statistics have been in all sports, involved in all sports for a long time, and through the process of evolution, we can say that they are here to stay because they haven't gone away. And I guess some people think that they are more meaningful than others. Some people look at stats entirely, and some people don't care about the stats at all. But in any case, statistics are involved in the sport. And like I said, usually we annotate events, different events in the match. But when we do the player tracking and the puck tracking, the system produces multiple orders of magnitude more data. So we're no longer talking about a handful of data. We're talking about buckets and buckets full of data. Since we track the positions for all of the players and the puck multiple times a second and in many different leagues and many different events throughout the year, thousands of matches. So what happens when you try to work with this amount of data? This is what happens. And I'm sorry if there are any analytics people in the crowd and I triggered your PTSD. I just had to include that over there. Because the data that we collect does not fit into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can't really write any Excel functions to get tables of stats from the data, because the nature of the data is so different. It doesn't really even make sense to have it in like a spreadsheet format or any of the traditional formats that are used to parse the data that is collected at the venues. So machine learning at Wisehockey, what we've done so far, I'm gonna show you a little example and talk a bit about what our plans are, what we're currently doing. So we have the data, the buckets of data from thousands and thousands of matches at many different levels of play in ice hockey. And there is little to no previous research with regards to how tracking data and machine learning work together and what kind of analysis can be done, since nobody else really has the amount of data that we have collected in the past few years. So we've gone and applied different state-of-the-art machine learning techniques to the data, and we have made some interesting discoveries, but there is still a lot more ground to cover. Since this is a pretty novel field, there is still a lot of bridge building to actually get the computer guys such as myself to provide some meaningful output for ice hockey coaches, for example. So it's not just me showing you graphs and numbers, but it's actually something meaningful for coaching, for example. So this is an example of one machine learning application that we've done, and it's a video, and yeah, it works. That's nice. So what's happening here? This is an ice hockey match, view of an ice hockey match from top down. The small red rings are the players, and the even smaller rings that are yellow, you can see them, are the refs. And then the position of the puck is the green dot, and then there is a machine learning model that is aiming to predict the position of the puck based on just the positions of the players. And if we think about this for just a while, what this means, as you can see here, the machine learning model is quite capable of predicting where the puck is based on just looking at the players. So we all kind of know that the game of ice hockey revolves around the puck. I mean, that's the most important entity on the field at all times. And we kind of can get the intuition that the positions of the players are a function of the position of the puck and vice versa. And I mean, this task for a human, it would be possible. It would be difficult, but it would be possible. Probably not easy enough that you would reach the same precision as this model is achieving here. But in any case, it's something that is intuitively easy to understand what is happening. And an interesting thing to point out about this, I wonder if I can go back and play again. Yep. Interesting thing about this is that sometimes the model is making errors. Sometimes the machine is making errors. It's not always tracking the puck precisely. And these errors are what's important in this case. So when the machine is making errors here, it means that there is something extraordinary, something exceptional, and something different happening with the puck than what it has seen before. So for example, if the prediction of the machine learning model, if it looks like it's kind of predicting the future, so to speak, so the puck is moving behind the prediction, we know that, for example, if the other team is trying to attack, we know that if the model is predicting the puck to be already deep in the defense zone, we know that the defending team has actually they have taken their positions earlier to defense and earlier than the model was able to predict. So they, on average, the team that is defending, they shouldn't be located in the positions that they already are, but here they did exceptional work. And the errors are actually key in most of these machine learning applications. So when I'm talking about errors, I'm not talking about the mistakes that the players make. I'm talking about the mistakes or the errors that the machine learning models make, because we can use them to discover the interesting events and interesting things that happen on the ice. So the same technique that I just showed can be applied to players. We can teach a neural network to estimate the position of a player. So we remove a player from the data, and then we train the model and we ask it, hey, where is the one player that is missing from the data? Where do you expect him or her to be? And then it gives us a prediction, and then if the prediction matches what actually happened, there is nothing extraordinary about that event. But if the prediction is way off, then we know that the position of the player on the ice during that event was different. We don't know yet whether it was better or it was worse. We just know that it's different from what usually happens in a game of ice hockey. So strategy-wise, the output has to be a lot more high level. I don't think it's interesting to build models that just highlight the mistakes of players, for example. We have to go to a lot more higher level. We can't be looking at individual events, individual shots or passes or defending situations. And the strategies usually appear over longer stretches of time. So it's not just a single point in time that we have to look at. We have to look at tens and tens of minutes, for example, backwards and see what the strategy of the team was. And this is not an issue, even though we have a lot of data, a huge amount of data. The machine learning techniques actually provide us with a very effective compression. So some people say, I said that machine learning is curve fitting. Some people say that it's compression, and then those people fight. But with the machine learning techniques, we don't. There's no issue even if we have tens of thousands of matches and tens of thousands of or tens of 20, 30 seconds of data that we want to look at. The machine learning models and the techniques are capable of compressing the idea of ice hockey and compressing the idea of a strategy into a much smaller space. So here are some other ideas on what can be the same kind of technique that I just showed, what it can be used for. So, for example, we can train a neural network to predict or learn what type of an offense on average leads to a goal. And here, the type of an offense, the length of an offense, it can be anything. So it's not just about looking at single shots and maybe the passes that preceded it or something like that. We can look at long periods of time and actually compute for each moment in time how likely is that the ongoing offense is actually going to lead to a goal. And also, vice versa, we can use the same kind of method for training a model that knows what type of a defense on average works. In fact, this can be achieved by showing a neural network, a machine learning model, only defense situations that never resulted into a goal. So the machine learning model has never even seen a situation where the defending team actually, there was a goal scored against them. So it doesn't even have an idea of how that could actually happen. And then we can again use the errors to see and compare different methods of play or strategies of play between the teams. And also, these can be then used further down to figure out where and when the team does not play optimally. And we can find samples of these situations among hundreds of thousands of matches. So if you have an idea as a coach about an issue that may be relevant to your team, for example, then the data can be used, the machine learning models can be used to discover examples of those kinds of data, those kinds of situations from your previous matches, so you don't have to look at 4,000 hours of ice hockey. Because, for example, the demonstration that I just showed, that model had seen about 4,667 hours of ice hockey, and it took it like maybe 9 hours to go through it and then learn what it learned. Watching ice hockey is fun, but it's not that fun. So we can use, since the system is used in multiple leagues, we can use data from the different leagues to build like a base model, and then the base model can be fine-tuned for each team. This is called transfer learning. So the model learns what is ice hockey, and then it learns how does Tappara play ice hockey, for example. And then even further down, we can fine-tune it for players. It can learn how a single player behaves in different situations and how it affects the behavior and the effectiveness of the team. And this is probably the last slide. I just want to mention as the last thing that all of these things, all of these machine learning models and AIs and whatnot, they are just they serve an advisory role, just like the statistics. So no one here has to be worried about losing their job to any of these computer things. it's just another interesting approach to making meaningful statistics from these games. And well, yeah, I have a few more examples that I came up with. For example, lineup suggestions and playstyle suggestions are something that models like this could do, and they could be useful for coaches at different levels. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can find us at the booth that is just right outside the door. Yeah, thank you.